Hey everyone, welcome to Heavy Cyberactive. I know you all are preparing for IC Squad Certified in Cybersecurity certification, and I also know that no cybersecurity certification is easy. That's why I have 25 exam style questions for you, and this covers questions only from the first domain, that is security principles. These questions are for practice purposes only and are not exam questions. They're crafted to simulate the exam experience and test your understanding of the material. So don't stress too much about it, and it's all about learning and having fun. Now let's go over how this will work. When a question appears on the screen, make sure you read it carefully. I'll also have keywords highlighted to help you focus on the most critical aspects. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time to think about your answer. Once you've made your choice, resume the video and we'll discuss the correct answer and the reasoning behind the right answer and why other choices are incorrect. I'll let my AI friend Ryan take over from here. Ryan, go ahead.
Thank you, Avinash. I'll take it over from here. Question number 1. What is the primary purpose of risk management? A. To eliminate all risks associated with an organization's assets or systems. B. To monitor and track risks over time to ensure they do not increase. C. To implement controls to mitigate all identified risks. D. To identify and prioritize potential risks to an organization's assets or systems and select the appropriate risk treatment. D is correct. The primary purpose of risk management in the context of cybersecurity is to identify and prioritize potential risks to an organization's assets or systems. This involves assessing the likelihood and impact of various threats and vulnerabilities, and then developing and implementing strategies to mitigate those risks. A, B, and C are incorrect. It is not possible to eliminate all risks, so risk management is about identifying and prioritizing the most significant risks and allocating resources to address them. Risk management may lead to security controls, but not necessarily, and risk management includes tracking risks over time, but that is not its primary purpose. 2. A systems administrator is implementing procedures to back up critical data to be able to recover in the event of an incident. Which cybersecurity foundational concept is being implemented? A. Confidentiality. B. Availability. C. Integrity. D. Governance. B is correct. Availability is focused on ensuring data assets and information resources are available and operational when they are needed. A is incorrect. Confidentiality is the secrecy of the information within the asset being protected. C is incorrect. Ensuring data is not changed by unauthorized users refers to its integrity. D is incorrect. Governance is the process of defining strategies to oversee the entire organization or a specific subset, such as IT governance, security governance, or financial governance, to meet organizational goals and objectives. 3. Which of the following is an example of a qualitative risk assessment? A. Return on investment. B. Expected monetary value. C. 3-point financial analysis. D. Examining threat scenarios and assets and ranking the seriousness and impact of each threat. D is correct. Threat modeling examines each asset and the threat it faces and compares it to other threats and is therefore qualitative. A, B, and C are incorrect. Return on investment, expected monetary value, and 3-point financial are all mathematical terms and, therefore, would only apply to quantitative risk assessment methods. A security engineer wants to implement a preventive control to block suspicious traffic or activity. Which of the following controls satisfies this requirement? A. IDs. B. CM. C. Logging. D. IPS. D is correct. An intrusion prevention system, IPS, can take action and block suspicious traffic or activity and is thus a preventive control. A, B, and C are incorrect. An intrusion detection system, IDs, Security Information Event Management System, CM, and logging are all detective controls that alert personnel when suspicious activity is detected in an environment. 5. Which of the following best describes the AV times EF equals SLE formula used in quantitative risk analysis? A. It is a measure of the potential impact of a risk event. B. It is a method for calculating the likelihood of a risk event occurring. C. It is a formula for assessing the overall risk associated with a particular asset. D. It is a way of prioritizing mitigation efforts based on the severity and likelihood of risks. A is correct. The AV times EF equals SLE formula is used in quantitative risk analysis to estimate the potential impact of a risk event. AV represents the asset value, or the estimated value of the asset that could be lost or compromised in the event of a risk occurrence. EF represents the exposure factor, or the percentage of the asset value that could be lost or compromised in the event of a risk occurrence. SLE represents the single loss expectancy, or the estimated monetary value of the loss that could result from a single risk occurrence. By calculating the SLE for a particular risk, organizations can better understand the potential impact of that risk and make informed decisions about how to manage it. B, C, and D are incorrect. The formula AVXEF equals SLE is not used to calculate likelihood. Instead, it is used to calculate the cost of one single event, regardless of how likely it is to occur, and it is used for calculating the loss of just one event, not overall risk. SLE calculations can be used for prioritizing mitigation efforts, but the best answer is that SLE is used to measure the potential impact of one event. 6. A security engineer wants to implement a detective control that will alert when suspicious activity is occurring, but will not block the activity. Which of the following controls satisfies this requirement? A. IPS. B. Firewall. C. Antivirus. D. IDs. D is correct. An intrusion detection system, IDs, is a detective control that alerts personnel when suspicious activity is detected in an environment. A, B, and C are incorrect. Intrusion prevention systems, IPSs, firewalls, and antivirus are all examples of preventive controls that block or prevent certain actions from occurring. 7. Which of the following are the most commonly used methods of risk treatment? A. Transfer, avoid, mitigate, remediate. B. Transfer, accept, avoid, mitigate. C. Remediate, insurance, triage, avoid. D. Breach, avoid, triage, remediate. B is correct. Generally, there are 4 choices for how risk recommendations are made and implemented: transfer and make it someone else's problem, accept and take the chance it may not happen, avoid by stopping the risky activity altogether, and mitigate by putting some kind of control in place. A, C, and D are incorrect. Remediate isn't a specific type of risk treatment, rather it is a term that refers to many ways to prevent threats from occurring in the first place. Triage also isn't a risk treatment method, instead it is a step, usually one of the first steps, in the incident response process. During triage, the incident is assessed to determine the order of actions to take that is best for the organization. 8. The security manager of an organization asks one of his security engineers to document the steps required to operate the vulnerability scanning tool. Which of the following documents is the security manager asking for? A. Policy. B. Procedure. C. External standard. D. None of the above. B is correct. Procedures are step-by-step workflows or instructions that define how a task should be accomplished. In this case, the manager is asking for vulnerability scanning procedures to be documented for their vulnerability scanning tool. A is incorrect. Policies are high-level management statements providing prescriptive directives to the organization. C is incorrect. External standards are documents developed and published by external standards organizations containing best practices that may be used for the development of security program elements. D is incorrect because one of the answer choices is correct. 9. An organization performs background checks on new employees before granting them access to sensitive systems to determine if they present an unacceptable risk to the organization. What type of control and control functionality is being implemented? A. Administrative preventive. B. Technical preventive. C. Physical preventive. D. Technical detective. A is correct. Administrative controls are management-oriented controls that provide directives and instruction aimed at people within the organization. Preventive controls provide functionality that prevents or stops an adverse event or incident. An example of an administrative control that provides preventive functionality is performing background checks on employees as part of the hiring process. B is incorrect. Technical preventive controls are hardware or software components that protect computing and network resources by preventing or stopping adverse events or incidents. Examples include network intrusion prevention systems, firewalls, multi-factor authentication, antivirus, and so on. C is incorrect. Physical preventive controls are tangible controls put in place to protect physical resources against physical threats by preventing or stopping an adverse event. Examples include fences, door locks, gates, and so on. D is incorrect. Technical detective controls are hardware or software components that protect computing and network resources by detecting when malicious activity is occurring. Examples include network and host intrusion detection systems. 10. Which of the following is an example of a physical control? A. Password policy. B. Encryption. C. Security cameras. D. Incident response plan. C is correct. Physical controls are measures that are put in place to protect physical assets, such as buildings, equipment, and hardware. Examples of physical controls include security cameras, access controls, and biometric authentication systems. A and D are incorrect. A password policy and incident response plan are administrative controls. B is incorrect. Encryption is an example of a technical control. 11. The Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, is creating a document defining the requirements that govern the Vulnerability Management Program. Which of the following documents best describes what the CISO is creating? A. Vulnerability Management Policy. B. Vulnerability Scanning Procedure. C. Vulnerability Management Guideline. D. Vulnerability Management Regulation. A is correct. A vulnerability management policy would define the requirements that govern vulnerability management. B is incorrect. Vulnerability scanning procedures would document the steps for how scanning would be performed. C is incorrect. A vulnerability management guideline document would provide general recommendations without specifying a requirement. D is incorrect. Laws and regulations are rules typically established by a governmental body or similar agency that specify requirements that are legally enforceable. 12. What is the correct formula to calculate the single loss expectancy in a quantitative risk analysis? A. AV plus F equals SLE. B. AV times F equals SLE. C. AF times EV equals SLE. D. AF plus EV equals SLE. B is correct. The formula is AV times EF equals SLE, where AV is the asset value, EF is the exposure factor, and SLE is the single loss expectancy. A, C, and D are incorrect. These formulas do not calculate the single loss expectancy. 13. Which of the following items best describes the principle of confidentiality? A. Confidentiality ensures data is available when needed and only authorized parties have access to it. B. Confidentiality ensures data is accurate and up to date. C. Confidentiality ensures data is protected from unauthorized modification or destruction. D. Confidentiality ensures data is kept secret and not disclosed to unauthorized parties. D is correct. The confidentiality principle refers to the protection of sensitive information from unauthorized access or disclosure. A is incorrect. Availability refers to the ability of authorized parties to access data when needed. B is incorrect. Accuracy refers to the correctness of data and is not related to confidentiality. C is incorrect. Integrity refers to the protection of data from unauthorized modification or destruction. 14. Which of the following is an example of exposure in a cybersecurity context? A. A hacker successfully accessing and stealing sensitive data from a company's network. B. A company's network being infected with malware that causes system downtime. C. A known vulnerability in a web application that could be exploited by an attacker. D. A company experiencing a data breach due to weak passwords. C is correct. Exposure refers to the potential negative consequences that could result from a vulnerability being exploited. In this case, the known vulnerability in the web application could be exploited by an attacker, potentially leading to a data breach or other negative consequences. A, B, and D are incorrect because the vulnerabilities have already been exploited, so the negative consequence of the exposure has already been realized. 15. The Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, of an organization is creating a document consisting of management statements outlining leadership support and requirements for the security program. Which of the following best describes this document? A. Security policy. B. Security procedure. C. Security standard. D. Law regulation. A is correct. A security policy is a document that outlines an organization's approach to information security. Policies are high-level management statements providing prescriptive directives to the organization. B and C are incorrect. Procedures are step-by-step workflows or instructions that define how a task should be accomplished. External standards are documents developed and published by external standards organizations containing best practices that may be used for the development of security program elements. Internal standards establish methods for complying with internal policies by driving a consistent approach to meeting organizational requirements by defining specific technologies, protocols, methods, or controls to be used. D is incorrect. Laws and regulations are rules typically established by a governmental body or similar agency that specify requirements that are legally enforceable. 16. Which of the following is an example of a threat that is carried out by human threat actors? A. Earthquake. B. Power outage. C. Wolf attack. D. Social engineering attack. D is correct. A social engineering attack is an example of a threat that is initiated by a human actor. This type of attack is typically initiated by a malicious individual or group. A, B, and C are incorrect. Earthquakes, power outages, and animal attacks are all examples of threats that are not typically initiated by human actors. 17. The Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, For an organization is asking the security engineers to build multiple layers of controls to increase the effort required for a potential attacker to succeed in compromising systems and reduce the risk if one control fails. Which of the following concepts is the CISO implementing? A. Least privilege. B. Defense in depth. C. Security governance. D. Authentication. B is correct. The use of multiple layers of security controls is referred to as defense in depth or layered defense. Defense in depth is the concept of coordinating and leveraging multiple layers of controls to increase the effort required for a potential attacker to succeed in their nefarious activity. A is incorrect. The principle of least privilege is the concept that a user should only have access to the resources that they need in order to do their job, but no more than that. C is incorrect. Security governance is focused on developing strategies to oversee the security program to facilitate alignment with the goals and objectives of the organization. D is incorrect. Authentication is the method by which systems verify that a user who is requesting access to a resource really is who they claim to be. 18. A security engineer is encrypting sensitive data in a database to ensure it can only be read by authorized parties. Which cybersecurity foundational concept is being implemented? A. Confidentiality. B. Availability. C. Integrity. D. Governance. A is correct. Confidentiality is the secrecy of the information within the asset being protected. B is incorrect. Availability is focused on ensuring data assets and information resources are available and operational when they are needed. C is incorrect. Ensuring data is not changed by unauthorized users refers to its integrity. D is incorrect. Governance is the process of defining strategies to oversee the entire organization or a specific subset, such as IT governance, security governance, or financial governance, to meet organizational goals and objectives. 19. The formula for annual loss expectancy is SLE times ARO equals ALE, but what do the terms mean? A. SLE equals single loss expectancy, ARO equals annual rate of occurrence. B. SLE equals single loss expectancy, ARO equals assets rate of occurrence. C. SLE equals single loss elimination, ARO equals annual rate of occurrence. D. SLE equals single loss elimination, ARO equals assets rate of occurrence. A is correct. The formula is SLE times ARO, ALE, where SLE is the single loss expectancy, ARO is the annualized rate of occurrence, and ALE is the annualized loss expectancy. B, C, and D are incorrect. None of these answers are the correct terms. 20. What is the difference between identification, authentication, and verification in a cybersecurity context? A. Identification is the process of verifying the identity of a user. Authentication is the process of determining what resources a user can access, and verification is the process of validating the accuracy of user information. B. Identification is the process of providing user information, authentication is the process of verifying that information, and verification is the process of granting access to resources. C. Identification is the process of a user providing information that claims them to be a particular identity. Authentication is the process of verifying that identity, and verification is the process of validating the accuracy of user information. D. Identification, authentication, and verification are all the same thing. C is correct. Identification is the process of a user providing information that claims them to be a particular identity, such as with a username. Authentication is the process of verifying that identity, typically a credential, such as a password or biometric data. Verification is the process of validating the accuracy of user information, such as checking that a name matches a record in a database. A, B, and D are incorrect. While authentication and verification are part of the process of user identification, they are not the same as identification itself. 21. Which of the following items best describes the topic of integrity? A. The confidentiality of data and systems. B. The availability of data and systems. C. The accuracy and consistency of data and systems. D. The protection of data and systems against unauthorized access. C is correct. Integrity refers to the accuracy, consistency, and trustworthiness of data and systems. It involves protecting data from unauthorized modification or deletion and ensuring that data is accurate and consistent. A is incorrect. Confidentiality is the secrecy of the information within the asset being protected. B is incorrect. Availability is focused on ensuring data assets and information resources are available and operational when they are needed. D is incorrect. Protecting data from unauthorized access supports integrity, but it isn't the best answer. 22. Perimeter fencing serves which of the following control functions? A. Detective. B. Directive. C. Corrective. D. Preventive. D is correct. Preventive controls provide functionality that prevents or stops an adverse event or incident. Examples include fences, door locks, and gates, as well as network intrusion prevention systems, firewall, multi-factor authentication, antivirus, and so on. A is incorrect. Detective controls provide functionality that helps to discover, detect, or identify when something bad might have occurred, such as an adverse activity, event, intruder, or incident. B is incorrect. Directive controls provide functionality that serves to communicate expected behavior. C is incorrect. Corrective controls provide functionality that fixes a system, process, or activity after an adverse event has occurred. 23. Of the following, which best describes what a compromise is in cybersecurity? A. The secrecy of information. B. The accuracy or completeness of information. C. The property that information can be accessed when it is needed. D. A security incident that results in the unauthorized access to information. D is correct. A compromise is a security incident that results in unauthorized access to information. A, B, and C are incorrect. The secrecy of information refers to confidentiality. The accuracy or completeness of information refers to integrity. And the property that information can be accessed when needed refers to availability. 24. Which of the following statements best defines a vulnerability in the context of cybersecurity? A. A threat that exploits a weakness in a system or network. B. A weakness in a system or network that can be exploited by a threat. C. A measure of the level of protection provided by a system or network. D. A type of malware that can compromise a system or network. B is correct. A vulnerability in the context of cybersecurity is a weakness in a system or network that can be exploited by a threat. A threat is an event or action that could cause harm to a system or network, while a vulnerability is a weakness or flaw that can be exploited by a threat. A, C, and D are incorrect. Vulnerabilities can exist in hardware, software, and network components and can range from simple configuration errors to more complex design flaws. Identifying and mitigating vulnerabilities is a critical aspect of cybersecurity. 25. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act is an example of which of the following? A. Policy. B. Procedure. C. Law. D. None of the above. C is correct. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, is a U.S. federal law with requirements for protecting the security and privacy of health information. A, B, and D are incorrect because they are not features of HIPAA, which is a law. Policies and procedures are sets of requirements or step-by-step processes, which can be based on laws but are not laws themselves.
Now that you've attempted all the questions, head down to the comment section, let us know how many questions you got correct out of the total. Share your thoughts, insights, or any challenges you faced during the quiz. It's a great way for us to connect and learn from each other. In case you need any coaching, feel free to reach out to me for both free and paid consultation. I hope you enjoyed testing your knowledge with these practice questions today. Don't forget to comment below and subscribe for more engaging content. Until next time, happy learning. Bye now.